The Supreme Court has put the brakes on new social media laws in Florida and Texas. These laws were designed to stop big tech companies from censoring conservative viewpoints. The court's decision means these laws cannot be enforced while legal challenges play out. This is a major win for tech companies who argue these laws violate their First Amendment rights. The cases are now likely to drag on for months or even years. The outcome will have huge consequences for online speech. It could determine whether social media companies can moderate content, or if they must host all viewpoints, even harmful ones. The decision has fueled the ongoing debate about free speech, censorship, and the power of big tech. The Florida and Texas laws took different approaches to the same issue. Florida's law aimed to prevent social media companies from deplatforming political candidates. Deplatforming means banning someone from a platform. Texas, on the other hand, focused on stopping social media companies from removing posts based on the viewpoint expressed. Both laws were based on the idea that conservative voices were being silenced online. Supporters of these laws, including many Republican lawmakers, argued that social media companies had become too powerful and were unfairly targeting conservative voices. Opponents, including tech companies and free speech advocates, countered that these laws amounted to censorship. They argued that the government should not dictate what content private companies can allow on their platforms. The legal battle over these laws has been fierce. On one side, you have states like Florida and Texas arguing that social media companies have become like public squares and should be subject to government regulation. They argue that their citizens are being censored and that the government has a duty to protect their free speech rights. On the other side, tech industry groups like NetChoice and the Computer and Communications Industry Association, CCIA, argue that these laws violate the First Amendment rights of social media companies. They say these laws force platforms to host harmful or offensive content, undermining their ability to moderate and protect users. They argue that social media companies are private entities and should have the right to decide what content appears on their platforms. Section 4. Why the Supreme Court intervened. The Supreme Court's decision to pause these laws is significant. While the court did not rule on the constitutionality of the laws themselves, it did suggest that the arguments against them were strong enough to warrant further review. The court's decision to intervene is a blow to states like Florida and Texas. The court's decision is a temporary victory for tech companies, giving them breathing room while the legal challenges continue. However, the fight is far from over. The Supreme Court has yet to issue a final ruling on the merits of these laws, and the outcome of this case will have major implications for the future of online speech. Section 5. Potential impacts of the decision. The Supreme Court's decision could have far-reaching consequences. If the court ultimately upholds the Florida and Texas laws, it could fundamentally change how social media companies operate. They might be forced to host all viewpoints, even those they find objectionable. This could lead to a proliferation of hate speech, misinformation, and other harmful content online. On the other hand, if the court strikes down the laws, it would be a major victory for tech companies and free speech advocates. It would affirm the right of social media companies to moderate content on their platforms and protect their users. However, it could also lead to accusations of censorship from those who feel their voices are not being heard. Section 6. The future of online speech. The Supreme Court's decision is just the latest chapter in the ongoing debate about how to regulate online speech. The internet has created new challenges for free speech, and there is no easy answer to the question of how to balance the rights of individuals with the need to protect society from harm. The outcome of this case will have a lasting impact on the future of online speech. It will shape the relationship between government, tech companies, and individuals in the digital age. It remains to be seen how the court will ultimately rule, but one thing is certain: the debate over free speech online is far from over.